Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2026 NFL Draft. It is Season 7, Episode 1. Um, our team has already been pretty set based off of how we built it and me signing long-term deals. There are a few people that I've let go over the course of the season, the offseason, so we have some holes to fill. Um, because of our picks, we have we have the second, eighth, and the 15th overall pick. So we have 22 million that's sitting in the rookie reserve, and a total cap of 25 million. So I only had $3 million to play with in free agency this year, so I couldn't really do much. However, I did re-sign tight end Dalton Schultz. If you remember, he was our second string tight end, blocking guy who can still catch some passes. Someone that I was really fond of. I was able to get him to resign for 7 years, 5.25 million. So we got that position locked up for a while, pretty cheap. We don't have many holes in our team. In fact, we're not going to get anything in the draft that's going to be a starter. And that's a good thing. That means we're going to be a competitive team. However, we have some positions that are starting to age. For example, Desmond King, our star cornerback, he's 31. So I need to start thinking about drafting a replacement, someone who's eventually going to take over for him. Also, if you remember, we traded away Charvarius Ward, who used to be a really solid second cornerback, but with his age, he was starting to decline. Um, our I forget what year he's in. I think this is going into his fourth year. Um, but Tim Cameron, who was our third string, ended up becoming our second string, partly because he was developing, but mostly because Charvarius Ward was regressing. He's our second string right now. He's been our second string the last couple of years, but he's really not great. Like when they talk about just a guy, that's kind of what he is. He's just a guy. He was a bad cornerback that developed into a serviceable one. He'll make some plays for us throughout the year, and he'll be able to hold down receivers for parts of it. But he's going to make quite a few mistakes in coverage as well, and he's not going to develop into a star cornerback. So what I'm looking for out of this draft is hopefully to find that star cornerback, and I have a guy targeted that I think might be that. Also, we do need some depth at halfback because we have our starter and we have our power back in Nick Chubb, and we have our receiving back in Spencer Jones, but we don't have a backup in case either one of those go down. So at some point, I'm going to have to get a good running back for depth. We need depth at cornerback because I only have 3 on the roster. But if I draft one, that'll give us the 4, and it will actually make us, as long as I draft a good cornerback, it'll make us pretty solid at the cornerback position for now. Our strong safety, I can't think of his name all of a sudden. He's a complete stud. Derwin James. He is starting to get a little old as well, so it might be time to start looking at maybe bringing in a strong safety that could develop and replace him. And I do need a backup quarterback as well. So yeah, there's some places there that we need to get some depth. For wide receiver, Martell Dillon and Sheriff McCollum are both going into the last year of their rookie contract. I have considered trying to trade for a star wide receiver and maybe send Martell Dillon away. And depending on how the picks play out, if I have some guys that I'm really high on, and if we get to that second pick or that 8, I'm pretty confident the guy that I want at 2 is going to be there. And then there's a guy that I really want at 8, but there's a really good chance he's not going to be there. And I'll show you who that is in a moment. But if he's not there, I may look to potentially trade for Henry Ruggs if I can pull him away from Oakland. And because I think having man, I cannot think of the names of our guys all of a sudden. D'Angelo Kitchens. Right now, he's actually developing into a star wide receiver, finally. Um, and then Sheriff McCollum is a pretty solid third-string quarterback. If I can bring in Henry Ruggs, that's going to give us Sheriff McCollum and Henry Ruggs as burners, and then D'Angelo Kitchens as a pretty good, middle of the field receiver. So having those receivers on the team will actually give us a good receiving threat, and hopefully our quarterback performs well. But we'll see. I've also been trying to target Jefferson from the Vikings. I almost got him last year, but didn't have enough to get him. So, we'll see this year. Anyway, that's all for the updates and plans. Let's go ahead and get started on the draft, and I'm actually going to show you, when it's my pick, that guy that I'm hoping will be there at 8.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
So the Miami Dolphins have the number 1 pick. We kind of knew that from week 17 when we beat them, and they were already the worst team in the league then, so that loss didn't help them move up. And actually, it would have benefited us if they did move up, because then that would have given us the first pick.
City Nighthawks
okay, so they didn't take the guy I want, which I'm glad of. Now, you're going to look here. At my draft board, I have Marquez Charleston as my top preference because we need that cornerback. However, Julian Hicks here is the second guy. He's the guy that I really want at 8, but I don't think he's going to be there. In fact, I think Julian Hicks might be one of the top 5, if not the top player in the draft. But we'll see. For now, though, I'm going to take Marquez Charleston out of pure need. I'm assuming he's going to be good, and then hope that Julian is there at 8.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
Okay, so I ended up making a good decision. Got the number 2 overall guy at number 2. He's a 79 overall cornerback. Let's go to stats here. That could be a lot better. I'm not going to lie. This is going to make him our 3rd string cornerback, but he is going to be able to develop into eventually our number 2 and maybe hopefully a number 1. Although I don't think he was only a normal progression, so probably not a true number 1. So the Eagles went with Wheatley. So every time someone picks a guy that's not that middle linebacker we want, I get a little happy and excited, but even more nervous as well. Wide receivers off the board here. Here's the Raiders pick. Let's see who they grab.
The Bears are now on the
clock. So they went offensive line. Couple more seconds. This seems like the longest 20 seconds ever.
The Rams are now on
the they went linebacker, but they went outside linebacker. Got a pretty decent one. So as long as the Rams don't take that middle linebacker I want, I know exactly who I'm taking. If they do take him, though, I'm going to have to pause it and reevaluate. And they took him. He ended up being a 75. Wonder what his potential is. So, and that's okay. We didn't need that middle linebacker, but he would have been really good to have. All right, so let's evaluate what's here and then potentially maybe make a trade. I have enough halfbacks, like high quality halfbacks, that I'm not drafting one in the first round. I could go for depth at cornerback, but I just don't need this now. And these wide receivers just aren't going to be as good as what I can trade for. The only alternative would be taking a look at Darren Alexander here, who would actually probably make a pretty decent linebacker, but not middle linebacker, I wouldn't think. He'd be a fun experiment, draft him, throw him at linebacker, and try to develop him. However, I'm going to try. Stupid bug. There we go. Let's see if I can get a wide receiver. Now remember, let's see, Raiders. Ruggs is my preference. They need nothing that I have that I can give. But I am willing to give up these 2 first-round picks. This guy right here, Cobb, is very highly sought after around the league. Let's see if this is enough.
How come nobody's at the podium? That's because both
We
teams
got
are
him. Nice.
working on a trade.
Nice. I don't mind giving up what I gave up to get this guy. Because actually I'm probably going to turn around and trade Martell Dillon for some picks either during this draft or into the next draft. Man, let's take a look at the draft board and see if there's someone I want to trade up for here. Oh man, our wide receiving core is going to be so good this year. We really didn't give Oakland anything other than, a crack at some rookies, but man. All right, so is there anyone that is worth trading up to the first round for? Maybe this guy? But that'd be like end of the first round. This guy would be pretty good to pick up too. But again, we're so so good at halfback that I can't justify spending a first round on this guy. I bet he's good though. In fact, let's keep an eye out for Denario Brownlee to see what his overall is. Kai Ali. Actually, the funny thing is, I would be trading away a wide receiver to go draft a wide receiver. But with that said, this is a wide receiver that would be depth in exchange for a starting quality wide receiver that wouldn't be playing. And one that's actually in the last year of his contract is going to cost me a lot of money to re-sign. So that would give me a chance to save money while still having depth at wide receiver. So when we get to pick 20, I'm going to take a look and see just kind of where he's at. I'm sure he's still going to be available, but is there anybody else here that might be worth grabbing? There was a strong safety. I think it was this guy. But we have a 20. Wouldn't mind getting this guy, trying to develop him for when Derwin James either retires or regresses enough that he's not effective for us. But I'm not going to trade away someone to get this pick. So let's go ahead and go to pick 20. I'll unpause it here so it can get going, and we'll evaluate if we can grab or trade up. We'll get rid of Martell Dillon to do it.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
Ooh, another 79 overall cornerback. I think that was the zone guy that I had pretty high on my board, but said that I didn't want, since we drafted that one, said we probably shouldn't come up and get that guy.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
So we gave him an extra crack at drafting, and unfortunately they took probably one of the best guys in the draft. So that's someone we're going to have to deal with for a while. But, we got Ruggs from him. So
The Patriots are now on the clock.
Ruggs is actually probably going to be the #1 guy on our depth chart for now. But I do expect D'Angelo Kitchens to probably surpass him in a year or two. But I mean, even then, like, if our quarterback cannot produce with those guys on the field, there's nobody I can put on the field that he can produce with. Then it just, I think we're going to have a pretty decent offense this year, and if we don't, I'm going to rage and wonder what the heck I have to do to put a good offense on the field, because it doesn't get much better than what we already have. And Casey Meadows at 80 overall, defensive tackle, that's going to be the #1 overall talent, and that's a heck of a pick, especially if he has a high development trait.
The Packers are now on the clock.
Kind of curious to see how our draft board is doing. After the Packers pick, I'll take a look at it. Gives us something to do while we wait for the next
pick.
The
Raiders are now on the clock.
All right, so that right end is still available, as are pretty much everybody have slated. Now, granted, we're only halfway through the first round. I expect most of these guys with the first round projection to go off the board in the next 10 picks. So, but yeah, I want to see what Darren Alexander is when he's picked. In fact, oh, there he is, 76 overall, and it's pretty decent. Wonder if he'd be a better linebacker. I mean, he has good strength for an end, but he has enough speed to play linebacker, so that'd be a pretty decent combination of speed and strength. So who's the other ones on the board? Byron Austin, D. Shepard, Richardson, and Lowry, and Westerman.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Not going to remember those, but maybe when their name pops up, I will. And given there's 3 wide receivers still on the board that are projected to go first round and are evaluated at first round talents, I don't think we need to trade up just yet. So, and there goes Lowry at a 74. And it's funny, like, the guy that I want is technically supposed to be worse than those guys that are higher on the board, but I just have this gut feeling that he's going to be a better receiver. I think it's because he has high route running as one of his stats, whereas everybody else is just, they're sure-handed, but that doesn't mean that they can get open to catch the ball.
Titans are now on the clock.
Okay, Bradley Richardson ended up being a 75, so not bad. Tell you what, if we can get that guy and he's better than these guys, that's going to be a pretty solid pick.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Westerman ended up being a 74. If Martell Dillon wasn't in the last year of his contract, I would definitely keep him.
Are now on the clock.
The problem is, as I mentioned, I had $3 million to play with in free agency this year, and that cap is only going to get tighter as we continue to re-sign people. So we have the wide receivers we need that he's going to, like, I can't afford to keep him. So, and I almost can't afford to keep Sheriff McCollum either, but Sheriff McCollum has such good speed that it'd be interesting to have Ruggs and McCollum on the speed at the same time, especially with D'Angelo Kitchens having to be guarded. I think those 2 in the field, it's going to be really hard to guard. All right, let's take a look at the draft board here. So we still have Byron Austin and D. Shepard on the board, so I'm curious what they'll be. Oops, not scouted. draft board. Kai Ali.
Are now on the clock.
Wonder how deep into the second round he's projected to go. Okay, so he's projected to go pretty early in the second round. So I might want to go ahead and make a trade here soon. Not with the Broncos, though.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and try to trade with the Lions. And there you go. I'll give you one of those rare sneak peeks into how good our team is. Tell me how a team with this good of stats can't get past the wild card round. All right. Let's see. Lions. Oh, wide receiver is something that they need too. I wonder if I can maybe fleece them a little bit. See what it takes to get 2 first rounders out of them. Oops. Okay, we're going to get rid of Martell Dillon. See if that's enough. Not far off. Yeah, probably won't want him. Yeah, this probably won't be enough either. I'll probably have to give him a 3. Dang it. I have plans for this 4th round pick, and you're going to think I'm crazy. Man. Uh-oh. Well, you know what? I think we still have Adderley, right? Yeah, I think it's time to go ahead and send Adderley on his way. Maybe pair that with the 3rd. Not quite enough. I don't want to give up a 2nd. Yeah, I guess I'll try it and see. Yeah. Do we have enough depth at left tackle or right tackle? No. And no. Well, I know that if I throw in a 2nd, that'll either be enough or get us close, or maybe even Adderley as well. Let me look at what I'm giving up in the 2nd round here. So it's a late 2nd round pick. There's a few people in here that and I guess I technically don't need to get their first next year. Wonder if I can do like, alright, I won't get greedy. I still want enough value for giving up what I'm giving up. But what if we say the first this year and their 2nd next year? How close does that get us? Okay.
Hold on now.
There we
This
go.
pick is trading teams.
Okay. Yeah. Would have liked to have their first next year, but that's greedy. And you know, we get a receiver that I think is going to be pretty decent. Kai Ali here. So 74 overall, not bad. 93 speed, good short route running, but oh man, that medium and deep is not good. Nor is his spectacular catch. So definitely going to have to work on route running with him, and probably some deep route as well. The deep route will give us oh my goodness, my brain is not working today. The deep route will give us deep route running and spectacular catch, and actually it'll give us medium route too. So yeah, if I just develop him on deep route running, that should give us those three things. Or is it release? Forget which one gives us release. But yeah, actually, all three of those stats that are low, we really need to develop. But he'll be a good fourth receiver for us. And actually, um, if we get into the third round and I see a guy I want, I might be able to trade away, that fifth or sixth wide receiver. See if there's anybody around here that I'm really curious how good this guy's going to be. I'll tell you what. Let's get to the 15th pick of the second round and see where if Denario is still available. All right, unpause it. I'll do the pick skipping once we get to the second round, but as always, first round will be a live draft.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Ooh, ow. This is the second year they picked a really bad person in the first round. I don't remember who they picked last year or what position, but I think it was like a 69 overall that they picked in the first round last year. So whoever is the GM of the Redskins right now can't pick. And wow, that division, the Redskins and Cowboys just picked terrible people in the first round. So I mean, I know that they have high picks right now, which means they had a good season last year. But you can't draft like that and stay a competitive team.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
So who else is in that division? That'd be the Giants and the Eagles in their division. I wonder if either of those are going to have. I mean, the Giants have been top-notch teams, so they'll probably continue to run that division.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
And by the way, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, so it's just an extra smack in the face. Not only did they sweep us, but they went on to win the Super Bowl.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
They got a strong. I wonder if that might be the guy that I was interested in. Is that strong safety still? Yeah, dang. I think that was the guy that I was like, oh, maybe I'll draft him.
The Vikings are now on
I
the
could
clock.
draft Jamie and move him over to strong safety. Wonder if he'd be any good at strong safety. Ah, there goes Brownlee.
The Eagles
He's
are
a
now
76 overall, so yeah, that was pretty good. And then another 76 over Byron Austin. So yeah, those guys that I had rated high up there ended up being pretty good. D. Shepard is still up there. He'll probably be pretty decent. So,
The Colts are now on the clock.
all right, we're in the second round. I'm going to pause it and skip ahead to the 15th pick.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
Favors.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Okay, yeah, D. Shepard ended up being a 76. All three of those guys are 76s. So, and then Brownlee ended up going ahead of those two, kind of like how I was thinking he might be the better one. They're all the same overall, so probably pretty decent, or probably equally the same, but yeah.
The Rams are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock. The Patriots are now on the clock. The Jets are now on the clock. The Packers are now on the clock.
All right, we're at the 15th pick now. Take a look at our draft board. Still some first round rated guys. And by the way, my plan for the 4th round is to draft this fullback. And like I said, you might think I'm crazy, but I think he's going to be better than what we have. And if you can draft a starter in the 4th round, I think you got to do it. Anyway, all 3 of these guys will be pretty decent. Our right outer linebacker is coming up as a free agent. So I could re-sign him, or I could just draft this guy and fill him in. Jamie's still on the board as well. This guy's a pretty darn good linebacker too, but I'm actually going to move him down there because I'm more interested in these 2. In fact, after thinking about how our right outer linebacker is coming up as a free agent, I think I'm going to move Fort to the top of my list. So we have the 24th pick. 9 more picks until we're on the clock. And right now, the Texans are on the clock. Let's see if the Texans are interested in a wide receiver. Probably not interested enough to take either of these 2. But yeah. Okay, so not the Texans. Let's go to the next pick. And now that I'm going to the next pick, they'll probably pick one of the guys I want.
The Jaguars are now on the
Yep,
clock.
there goes Bramble. So at least it's not the linebacker. Jaguars. They probably did not want a wide receiver either. I wonder if anybody even has any slight interest in these guys. Okay, so the Rams do. And the Dolphins. Okay, when do the Rams pick? They already picked. Well, I might actually be able to get a first out of them for next year, so. And I know the Dolphins already picked as well. That linebacker's not going to be there, but we're going to go ahead and.
The Saints are now on the clock.
Yeah, there he goes. All right, we'll just go to my next pick.
The Oklahoma City Nighthawks are now on the clock.
All right, who's available? Oops, that's got it. Actually, we do need a backup quarterback. Don't need a defensive tackle, but he is rated really high. Backup quarterback or 4th string defensive tackle? I almost have to go 4th string defensive tackle, don't I? I think if I'm going to draft one, it would be this guy here. Dang. Not that combine stats matter for a quarterback, but he did pretty good. He has good throwing power, good throw on the run, and break sack. Probably isn't very accurate, though. Alright. I'm going to go with the defensive tackle and then maybe see if I can trade back up one of these guys. And go away, stupid hold to reorder. Actually, that guy's not projected until the 4th round. Okay. I'm going to go with the quarterback. And then figure out a way to come back and get that defensive tackle. So I have this feeling in my gut that this guy's going to be a better overall quarterback. And all we would have to do is work on his accuracy. But I'd really rather have a pocket passer. Why is it stupid? Oh, I hate this hold to reorder bug. Both 6'3". How old are they? You're 21. You are 23. Alright, so I'll go with Zach Fitzsimmons.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Okay, 71 overall. He's got a hidden dev trait. Judging off the pose, that just means he's a star. Because usually if they flex with both arms, that means superstar. So I'm not mad at picking this guy up. We just got to build up his accuracy, and I think he'll be pretty good. Yeah. Now to find a way to get rid of the stupid hold to reorder bug. Okay, there. Now, I gotta find a way to work my way back in the 3rd round, try to get that guy. Do you remember that the Dolphins were interested in the one guy? Let's go to the Rams. Let's see if he's still available when we get to the Rams.
The Lions are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. The Cowboys are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock.
Man.
The Vikings are now on
Raiders
the clock.
have a bunch of picks.
The Eagles are now on the clock. The Colts are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock.
Alright. I'm assuming he's still available. He is. The Rams wanted both of our wide receivers. So, let's try to fleece him a little bit. I thought maybe I could get a 1st round pick out of them from next year for these 2 wide receivers. But I really want the pick right now. Let's just see where this puts us. Not even close. What a second next year. Okay. So, 3rd round might be all I'm able to get. I don't really care too much about these guys. I can always replace them. I mean, right now we have 4 receivers that are pretty locked into their spots that I don't plan on getting rid of. So, I mean, maybe if I draft another wide receiver at some point in this draft for depth, then I'll have what I need. Still not close. Alright, I need that 4th round pick. throw in a 7, but that's not going to be enough. Ooh. Ooh. I'm getting a pick from next year, darn it. Actually, I wonder if I can get one of their 4th rounds this year. Nope. Alright, it'll be a 4th round next year. Or it won't. Fine, give me your 5th this year.
I see both teams filling out cards. You know what that means?
Dang, I went into that hoping to fleece them out of a couple picks. I feel like I'm the one that got fleeced. But that's okay. We're about to draft a defensive tackle to replace Jones, who is actually getting old anyway. And then we'll pick up a wide receiver in the 5th round with that pick that we got. So really, all I did is replace the players I have. We're not going to gain or lose anything here, I don't think. So, I mean, we might get a little better on our depth.
The Broncos are now on the
73 over. Yeah, so I mean, our defensive tackle got better. So that's a win there. Now in the 5th round, if we can get a guy that's a 70 overall wide receiver, which probably won't happen, probably be like 68 to 70. But if we can get a guy there, that means we'll give up 2 wide receivers that would probably never see the field for 1 wide receiver that will never see the field. This guy is not as good as I was hoping he would be. He's an okay power rusher, an okay tackler, but we're going to have to build up his block shedding. Yeah. We build up his block shedding and a little bit more into power rushing. He'll be a decent guy. All right. On to the 4th round pick.
The Oklahoma City Nighthawks
So I can take my
are now
fullback. Okay, good. He's available.
The Bills are now on
72. So yeah, we got better at fullback. And he can block, which is one of the main reasons why I was willing to spend a 4th round pick on him, is that he's a good utility back while still being able to block. So yeah, I'm happy with that pick. And now let's see if we can get that wide receiver.
Are now on the clock.
Heck, we still need a depth halfback too. So, and we have 2 good ones here to pick from. All right, you are the strongest back with decent speed, so you'll be pretty decent probably. Man, kind of want both of them. That's just being greedy. What's available later? Because I won't be able to draft until the 7th round. That guy's not going to be any good. Dang it. Alright, well, I think I have to go with this guy just because I think he's going to be better overall. And he has a better chance of seeing the field than the other guy does.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
69 overall. It's probably about what the other wide receiver was. I don't have enough to trade back up to get the other guy, and I'm not really willing to give up much to go get him, so let's just go to our last pick and
The Oklahoma City
take the
Nighthawks
best we can
are
get.
now on the clock.
Actually, I should go to scout if that help. Is this guy any good? It's okay. So I'm going to look at and see what Max Lowry is as an undrafted free agent. But as far as this goes, I think I'm going to trade it. 179, 173. Yeah, we'll go with 173.
What wait looks like both war rooms are feverishly back on the phones. I think that
All right,
means a
so
trade
that's
is
the end of
coming.
our draft. See how we did. Was there anybody I needed to adjust? No, I think I drafted everyone to play the position I drafted them in. Yeah, so everyone's going to stay in their positions. I think I actually had a pretty decent draft. Alright, so we know we got the second overall talent. This is the guy, I don't think this was the guy that I was looking at, because the other guy was a zone coverage guy. This is a man coverage. So he's actually pretty darn good. And I straight up missed him. I think overall our guy's a little bit better. Let's see, 77 man coverage. This is 79, higher speed. Yeah, so actually I think probably this guy was a better cornerback, so I missed. I won't lie. Let's see. Okay, so we got the 11th overall talent here. Like I said, I think he's going to be a good, a solid fourth-string receiver. In fact, he's probably a third, maybe sometimes second wide receiver on some other teams. But he'll be our fourth. Manny here. If I remember right, he was like 20-something overall, and then we got the 32nd overall. Maybe he was the 32nd overall. So, but we got him in the third round. So that's a pretty good value there. All right, well, I wonder what the biggest steal of the draft would be. Probably be one of these two here, because they were picked in the fourth round and they're first round talents. Yeah. Cool. Well, I think I had a good draft overall. Feel free to throw something in the comments letting me know how you think our draft went. I still got to fill in a couple holes in free agency with the either undrafted free agents or maybe some guys that fell through the cracks. Now that I actually have salary cap room to work with, I think we're going to be really good next season since we have some pretty good playmakers on offense now, and it's going to be interesting to see what I do as far as re-signing people, because given the fact that we're starting to get a little low on cap, I may start opting to let people go in exchange for drafting a rookie to fill in. So we'll see. It'll be an interesting season. So keep an eye out tomorrow for the first game we play to see how we do. Thanks for watching.